Howdy, gang. You know the thing, I've got an opinion or two about gardening. Just wanted to share it with you. You know the best thing about when you put in a garden is getting to watch it grow. I have had sometimes good luck, sometimes bad luck. But this year has been crazy because I've had nothing but good luck. And I hope that continues. I really, truly do. I have my three sisters' bed, which is peas, corn, and spaghetti squash, and one row of scallions. That's my 6-foot bed. And it's just going along like gangbusters. My deck today hit 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So for Canadians, that's 60 degrees Celsius. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. My bush beans are growing like mad. The only thing I've had a hard time with is my regular cucumbers, because I had 4 plants come up. 3 of them pretty much got burned out. But I'm gonna pull all those old seeds up, because I don't think there really were this year's germination thing. I think they were a little bit too old, but I still have one growing, and it's green and it's coming up, and I'm happy about it. So I think I'll plant some burpless cucumbers in those spots tomorrow. But tomorrow I am going to do a video regarding putting up shade cloth over my gardens, because oh my god, this is crazy. 140 degrees on my deck is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It gets like 87 to 97 in the house, and when it hit 103 in the shade on my deck today, 103 degrees Fahrenheit, it was 140 degrees Fahrenheit in the sun, right where my garden beds are. And wow, I mean, that's hot. I don't want my vegetables or my spices or my herbs to bolt, but the ones along my fence are starting to bolt, and I need to get them covered up. So I think what I'm going to do this season is I'm going to change my my fence line garden, basically, which is just a 6 inch by 1 inch by 6 foot or 7 foot or 8 foot long piece of cedar. You know, just like a shelf that you can put your pots on. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest a little bit of money in some pallets, or maybe just go find some free pallets. I have a lumber store near me that has lots of pallets that they just throw away. So I think I might just build an up and down herb garden along my fence that doesn't take up as much room, but gives me 10 times the space for growing. So that will be a work in progress. And I'll bring you guys along on that tour and along on that trip with me, because I think it's important. Making the most of a small space when you're gardening. You don't have to go and spend a whole lot of money to create a growing space. Teach your vegetables, or train your vegetables, especially like zucchini, peas, beans, tomatoes. Train them to grow vertically. I'm just totally flabbergasted that I have little tomatoes growing already. And I only planted the tomato plants a week and a half ago, and I've got little tomatoes growing already. And I am just totally, totally happy about that, because the plant that they're growing on, I thought that the leaves were a little bit sickly looking. But, you know, they're the plant is a beefsteak tomato plant, and I put my tomato spikes in the ground, and that seemed to have helped like 2 days before, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to get tomatoes showing up. I have all of my other tomato plants, they have leaves like crazy, they have blossoms like crazy, but no fruit yet. So in the next couple of days I'm going to have to go through them and make sure that whatever leaves are hitting the ground I trim off and take all the suckers out, and hopefully they will start doing what they need to do to grow fruit. I'm excited. I am totally excited about this. A friend of mine that was over this weekend helping me with the garden and with the yard said to me, "Wow, did you ever get a lot of sun on your neck?" So I said to her, I said, "You know, yeah, that's what a redneck is. We spend all our time out in the garden. We spend all our time out doing our thing and trying to make crops grow. So yeah, we get a redneck because of the sun beating down." And she said to me, she says, "Well, maybe you need to change your hat." And I said, "There's nothing wrong with the hat I have. It keeps the sun off my neck, but it also keeps the sun off my head too. So that major bald spot I have on my head, that's a humongous solar panel. And I'm quite happy to keep the sun off of that, because when that gets sunburnt, I am not a happy camper." Oh my goodness. So tomorrow my sunshades go up, or my shade cloth goes up. I'm also working on a project right now that is to create a stand for 3 55-gallon water barrels. You know, the big 55-gallon plastic jugs, or 55-gallon plastic barrels. I've got it half done now. I've got the wood platforms built. I just have to make sure that everything is level. And I've got it 2/3 of the way plumbed. I mean, these are the fittings, right? One this way, one that way. And I mean, I've got 6 of them. But here's the catch with doing this. And I pulled this out of a book, but I didn't realize the challenges. This one here is a wide thread. Okay? You can see the wide thread on the base. And from the same barrel on the other side, this is a narrow thread, or you know, a fine thread. So fine and coarse. Now, here's the catch with this. When you're doing this kind of thing, you have to make sure that this cap has a knockout that you can actually feed your pipes into. All right, and I'll show you the book in the next video where I got all of this information. And you know, the book was informative, but not quite as true to life as it should have been, because the editing sucked. I had to redo my stands because they give you dimensions, they give you cuts and everything else, and then they show you what they're doing, but they don't describe it right. So as a result, some of my stands have some extra holes in them, because I had to take them apart and redo them the opposite way. But they are all ready to go. So now what I have to do is I have to build a concrete form so that I can pour some concrete to make sure it's level, so that I can set this up at the back of my house and affix it to my house so that it's not going to go anywhere. And then what I have to do on top of that to get it plumbed so that I've got water coming in, not off a shingle roof, but off a metal roof, is I have to build a roof over top of this stand with the 3 barrels. Now, 355-gallon barrels gives you 165 gallons of water that you can use for your gardening, flushing your toilets, plumbing, stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily trust it for drinking, not unless you ran it through filters like 5 or 6 times, especially in this area since we have so many pine trees and so many pieces of mold and moss growing off our roofs, that I'm going to have to make sure that I have screens strategically placed so that I can keep all of that out of the water and yet still let the water come in through and into the barrels. So I'll bring you along on that project as well. I've got a third of it started. I'm not going to go back and redo it all to show you, but I can show you what I have done to this point, and I will also tag the book where I got the information so that you can find it on Amazon or whatever. Just remember that if you do get it off of Amazon, you're going to have to read between the lines and make sure that you have the correct information for measurements and for cutting and for all of this other stuff. Pardon me. But it's coming along. And the other thing with regards to the barrel thing and the water thing is that you have to make sure, and this is important, you have to make sure that your barrels are sanitized. Please don't do this and just expect that a barrel's going to be fine. I mean, these barrels that I bought 2 of them for $45 each. The other 4 I got for free from some lady that decided that she wanted to get rid of these barrels that she had in her yard. And I was looking for barrels and nobody had them for sales. And she said, I have 4. 2 of them been converted to compost rollers. The other 2 are just like they are. And if you want them, you can have them for free. Just get them out of my yard. And I was like, oh my God, really? Yeah, I'm all over that. So within an hour, I had 4 barrels for free. 2 of them were compost rollers, which weren't done very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them in half lengthwise, and the best part of that barrel, without the cut piece for the door for the compost side of things, I'm going to take those 2 pieces plus the wheelbarrow that I basically destroyed after 20 years. It sort of fell apart. I'm going to take the base or the barrow part, and I'm going to create another garden bed. So I will have 3 more garden beds out of barrels that I got for free, plus a wheelbarrow that I've had for 24 years or 25 years that needs to be repurposed because the wooden parts on it and the brackets on it are all shot. But it's plastic. It's heavy duty grade plastic, so I mean it will make a perfect garden bed. And I'll bring you along on that journey too. I'm excited this year about my garden. I really am. I have not had this much luck in the last few years with gardening as I have this year. Now the big thing is to keep all of the critters and the bugs out of it, and hopefully have a very successful harvest with the small space that I have. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too, and I'll bring you along on that. And I put out a I put out a garden tour for the beginning of May. Well, come the end of May, beginning of June, I'm going to put out another one. And just so you guys can see exactly how crazy the growth is on these vegetables and flowers in my garden, because it's just absolutely amazing to watch it every day. I just have to make sure that I water them frequently and regularly so that I don't lose crop. I grew up on a farm. I never wanted to be a farmer. My oldest brother, he could pick up a handful of dirt and tell you exactly what he could grow in it. My second oldest brother, he wanted to be an agricultural mechanic, and he was. He did. My oldest brother got killed in a car accident before he could go to college. But my second oldest brother made it through college, and he became an agricultural mechanic. And then he went on to do a bunch of other stuff. That was a long time ago. But my father, God rest his soul, he was the consummate small acreage farmer. Grew up in, little bit so-and-so somewhere. And I mean, he grew up through the Depression, and he taught me a lot of things. When my oldest brother passed away, all of that hard stuff got dumped on me because I was the third in line, basically, and my second oldest brother had already gone to college, so the rest of it got dumped on me. And my little sister, she was my little sister, so she looked after the barn cats and didn't get chastised too much, even though she was so allergic to them. So it came to rest on my shoulders, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I learned a lot. I rebelled a lot, but I learned a lot. And I never wanted to be a farmer. I never wanted to grow a garden until probably 10 years into my military career, when I started trying to experiment with gardening. But in between deployments and all of that stuff, forget it. I mean, I'd plant radishes, I'd plant this, I'd plant that, and then I'd be sent on deployment, and I'd get back, and my wife at the time had no interest in gardening, so, and God rest her soul, she told me right off the bat, I'm not doing this. I'm not weeding. I'm not going out in your garden patch and doing this stuff while you're away. And I said, okay, that's fine. So as a result, a lot of my vegetables and a lot of my plants that I grew either bolted and got really, really woody or rotted or whatever. So, I mean, this now is my opportunity, now that I'm retired, to be able to experiment with growing stuff and gardening and learning how to figure out how to put in a victory garden. I think that's important for a lot of us. And I think everybody within the reach of my voice should really contemplate putting in a victory garden, especially nowadays with all of this BS that's going on. We never know where this world is going. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're only given today. We're not given tomorrow. We're not given yesterday, because yesterday's already passed. We're only given today. And if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, if you're growing a garden and you're surviving, at least you're growing your own food. That, folks, is very, very important, especially with the way that the prices are in the grocery stores lately. Oh my God. I mean, it's nuts. I went over to the grocery store the other day, and for one paper grocery bag of probably about a halfway full, it cost me $130 in produce and meats. Not much meat, mostly produce, and some cleaning materials. But $130 for a third of a grocery bag full, I was just like totally blown away. I could not believe it. I have not yet gone into a grocery store with my camera and started filming prices, and I don't think I'm going to do that because there are a lot of channels that do that. But being Canada and being Canadian and being stuck with certain grocery stores up here, unless you want to go to a farmer's market, and the prices are pretty close to realistic to what the grocery stores are. I mean, seriously, it's kind of a scary thing because our governments are trying to drive the prices up on food and trying to put us into this little tiny space where we have no control. Don't let them do that. Don't let them do that. Grow your garden. Start a victory garden. Or just start a vegetable garden and add flowers to it, because the flowers are important. Flowers will bring the pollinators. Flowers that bring the pollinators will bring the good bugs to your garden to get rid of the bad bugs. Do the research. If you need links, ask me. I will put the links for all the books that I have on gardening and everything else in my description box. Just let me know. And for those of you that want the honeybee mix seeds that I still have, they are vacuum sealed. I have 4 packs left, 4 packs of 5. 3 of those have been spoken for. One pack I sent to Ed at Prepper Nurse One, and I sent them to him directly because, and what I told him was, you know, you've got a hive, you've got a beehive now. Spread these all around your beehive. Your bees will be super happy when these flowers start growing because they attract bees and they attract the pollen and everything else. So I sent those to him 2 days ago. I have 3 packs left. 3 packs of 5. So the ones that I planted this year are still viable. They are still viable because I sealed them all last year. I vacuum sealed them. I pulled that 1 pack out of the 5 packs of seeds, opened up the vacuum seal, spread them all out in 3 of my grow bags, and they are all growing. I was so happy. I was so pumped. And I have 3 packs left, 3 packs of 5. So if you want them, get a hold of me. My email is in my description box. 2 of them are already spoken for. I have 1 5-pack left. Please let me know if you want them or not. And the first come, first serve. Anyways, folks, it's been a pleasure talking to you this evening. I am so pumped. I hit 99, and I want to thank I want to thank the channel, and I just had a brain dump, but All American Prepper, I think it was. But I hit 99, so I'm hoping to hit 100. And if I can hit 100, I will be so happy. Anyhow, folks, my blessings to you. Have a fantastic evening, and I pray for each and every one of you. Have a great night. Prep Rebel out.